Hello and welcome back to my craft room. Well, it's Scrawler Day. I'm a bit late for Scrawler Day. Quite a few people I know actually got their box a couple of days ago, so unfortunately I've managed to see a few hints and spoilers, and so in the end I decided I'd just watch some other people's unboxings because I was sort of guessing what was in there anyway. So it's not a surprise what's in the box this time, but nevertheless I'm quite looking forward to getting in there and having a play. Some reservations about the contents, but you don't really know until you get in there and try it yourself, do you? I apologise in advance for any hammering, drilling, barking and all sorts you hear going on in the background. It's like living between a building site and a dog kennels here at the moment. I don't know what our neighbours are having done. They haven't said anything about it or how long it's likely to take, but yeah, it's been really noisy for a couple of weeks now, so but there seems to be a bit of hiatus going on. I don't know if they're having a break, so I thought I'm going to get in and do my little unboxing now. And since I already know what's in there, I might even go ahead and do my sort of first piece straight away this time. You normally have to go away and sort of mull it over for a bit, but I've had time to mull for a while, so let's go in there. It won't be quite as exciting because I do love the surprise of finding out what's inside. It's half the fun of a box like this, for me anyway. So if you don't know, ScrawlrBox is a monthly subscription. It's a mystery art supplies box. So you get a box full of art supplies which are all curated to work together, and there's a prompt in there, an inspiration piece by the featured artists and all sorts. It's currently $18.95 a month, and it's less if you buy a subscription for a longer period of time. So anyway, here we go, let's get in there. One little rip and you're into your art supplies. I haven't got the normal sort of of excitement because I don't normally know what's in here, but it's still quite fun to get into. So here's our little package of supplies. Weighty package this time. You always get the Scrawler zine. I'm going to take this box out of the way because it's going to annoy me. There we go. And the Scrawler zine gives you a bit of a hint about what's inside if I didn't know already. So let's do that. Let's make like I don't even know what's in here. Ooh, whatever could it be? Now my friend Gabby particularly enjoyed this, sweetie. Gabby Chic Dolls here on YouTube. I'll put a link. Go and watch Gabby's unboxing. Actually, just not just for the sweetie, but you know, she did create a beautiful art piece as well. So here we go. You always get a sticker, which is usually part of the featured artwork. You always get a challenge. This time it's Midas Touch. A blessing or a curse. This month's box is inspired by our featured artist's delicate graphite details and precious finishing touches. So we've got this a gorgeous pilot. It's an oil-based permanent marker, I believe. Contains no xylene. I think xylene is that solvent that causes a lot of people irritation. Medium nib. I'm a little bit concerned about the size of the nib on the size of paper that we'll have. But anyway, we'll wait and see. Then we got this white coal. So it's white coal instead of charcoal, so it's like a charcoal. So Zoe Artist on you, she hates this feeling. She's got a real thing about it, which I can kind of understand. It's a little bit like that for me, but not to the point where I can't use it. And I don't know if we're meant to use this for blending or for adding highlights. I'm a bit sceptical about how well it's going to work overall with the graphite, but as I say, let's wait and see how I actually find it. And then we've got this lovely Wolf's graphite sketch set, HB right through to 8B, which is lovely. It's a really nice soft one, isn't it? An eraser, a sharpener, and a graphite stick. Another thing that a lot of people don't like because it's quite messy, but I love working with these. So that's a nice set. So that's our supplies. I've already got some other things that I'm hoping might work to be able to blend this pen out a bit, because after watching other people's unboxings, yeah, it's made me feel like I don't necessarily want to be having to just apply this pen directly to the paper. So I've got a few things to try to see if they might work to blend this out or make it so I can apply it with a brush, but I don't know. I don't hold out a lot of hope, but it's got to be worth trying. So my hot favourite is this one because it's odourless, so that would be really nice. Odourless mineral spirits. This is Gamsol. I think there are other makes of it, but I got this for using for blending with coloured pencils. And I saw something somewhere about being able to use it with oil-based markers, and I believe this is an oil-based permanent ink. Anyway, worth a shot, worth a shot. That's why I've got these little cotton buds here. I've also got some of this linseed oil that I got to go with my water mixable oil colours. I'm not sure that would work, but it's got to be, you know, I just got a few things to try. I was hoping I'd got terps, but I haven't. I think the reason I went with water-based oil, one of the reasons I went with water-based oil colours, was because I didn't need terps. You can dilute them with water. So then I got some white spirit because I thought that might work because I didn't have terps. And I've also got some IPA. We're not talking real ale. We're talking isopropyl alcohol. So I thought I'm going to try those and just see if they will react at all with this gold pen. So we've got Frisk paper. We always love Frisk paper. So this is 200 GSM. We've got 10 sheets of it. It's A5 size. So it'll be nice and sturdy. It's a pretty smooth one. Yeah, love that effect on the front there. Isn't that pretty? It'd be nice to be able to get something like that. I wonder if that's from one of the featured artists pieces. That's such a beautiful effect, isn't it? I might have a little experiment with the graphite stick and water and see if I can get anything like this going on. From what I've seen people saying, the featured artist didn't use a gold pen like that. She used gold leaf, which I do have some of. But and I love that contrast, that gold against the dark graphite and the, or maybe this is ink, I don't know. And the white paper, very, very beautiful effect, isn't it? And then we've also got some Frisk transfer paper, and I love this stuff, this trace down stuff. I keep this in anyway, it's so useful. So you just use it, it's like an old carbon paper you used to use in an old-fashioned typewriter. 2 sheets, and then you can use it over and over again. But instead of carbon paper, it's kind of wax-based, so you can't rub it off with this. It's just graphite, so you can just rub it off. So it works just the same as using tracing paper, but you haven't got to trace it all out and then turn it over and scribble on the other side and then turn it over, and it's just the one operation with this. So it's really good stuff. And there's the beautiful piece by the featured artist. Isn't it lovely? Really beautiful. I love that contrast. You've got that smooth blended out graphite there, and all the different tonal values in graphite, and then the gold, and then they've worked into the gold probably with graphite over the top. Really lovely effect, very inspiring. So probably I will have a little doodle this time, and now I've seen this properly with my own eyes. I will have another think over the next couple of days and come back again inspired by this. Very nice. It's interesting that this is the same pattern carried on into, it's kind of etched into that gold and then comes out into the graphite drawing here. I do like that. Okay, so let's have a look in the zine. So here's a quick rundown of the contents. Carbon block, 6 pencils. Pop of white. Use this white coal to add in highlights and pops of white to your work. Yeah, I'm not convinced, especially from what I've seen of other people's unboxings, that you're going to get a pop of white over the top of anything with that. I don't think that is going to work. I think if you want a pop of white, you'll have to leave it white or cheat and use some paint over the top or something. I have no qualms about cheating and adding in an extra supply for the Scrawler challenge, especially if the supplies don't exactly do what it's suggesting they will do. I have no qualms about substituting something that will. Here, and they are saying here, artist has used alternative supplies to create this. Yeah, I didn't actually read about them. So it's Iskra, is it Sale, is it Saleh, is it I don't know how you pronounce that, but you can see. And there's their socials. So there will be more information about the artist in here as well. Here we go. So there's Iskra. I will enjoy having a good read of all of this later. Just give you a quick look at some of her pieces there. Aren't they beautiful? I love just this kind of pop of gold against the graphite there. Really set each other off beautifully. It's very inspiring. Okay, things to try. I always enjoy this bit. All the tones, so we'll have a look in a minute, get all the different tones we can get out of our graphite pencils. Blending, use a cotton bud or some tissue to blend out your graphite. This is where the oils in it. Well, I've also got handy one of my little blending stumps. Quite a fine one because we're working on a small bit of paper. Yeah, prevent smudging by leaning on a spare piece of paper. That's always a good idea, which I always forget. Light layers. The carbon block is great for filling out larger areas. Use it in different angles and stuff. You can layer the gold over the graphite even when burnished. That's interesting, isn't it? Being able to layer the gold over the top. Let's talk about all the different softnesses of the pencils there. Okay, so the gold marker is a permanent based ink, meaning once dry you're unable to reactivate it. Try and avoid getting it on your clothes too. Use small circular strokes for an even application. And there's how to use the transfer paper. This is the story behind this particular piece of artwork. She works with graphite, and this is using gold leaf. I do have some gold leaf and other metal leaves. Only very, very high quality 23 and 24 karat gold. Well, that's not happening with me, but you know, I've got some cheap stuff from Temu though. And I've got some gold flakes, I could try them. Right, and then one of my favourite bits is always the Scrawler gallery. Always love to see those names I recognise in here. I follow so many people on Instagram and things now. I sometimes forget which ones I've looked at already. I do recognise some names here. I recognise Emily Draws stuff, Lucy Locke's art, Sally Townsend. Yeah, I do recognise quite a few of these names. Some beautiful ones here. Now, what was this? I've forgotten. Metamorphosis. I think I did Pinocchio for this one. Probably not quite what they had in mind, but so we had these chunky Albrecht Dürer watercolour pencils. They're lovely, and it's amazing masking fluid by Frisk that I've never tried before. Really enjoyed it. And there's some lovely, lots of different takes on that. This one, on that prompt, Metamorphosis. Beautiful. And then here are the top three, so they're given their own sort of double spread now, the top three. Oh, and I recognise all of these. So here's Amy Lady Doodlebug. Well done, Amy. Isn't this brilliant? Look at that. It's a great take on the prompt, isn't it? And that girl named Em. I didn't actually know she's called Emily Edwards, but yeah, that girl named Em, I definitely know that one, and I've definitely seen that piece. Well done, Emily. And Katie Ryle's art. Lovely. It's nice that they have a little quote from each of the top three people now. It's nice. Beautifully done. Well done, everyone. And then there's always some kind of some article that in some way relates to the theme. Another piece by the featured artist. Love these kind of gold tendrils that she adds. I just don't think you're never going to be able to get anything that delicate, anything like that delicate with this chunky nib on this size paper, unless one of my things I'm hoping is going to work does work. Don't gain the world and you lose your soul. Wisdom is better than silver and gold. Bob Marley. Now I've forgotten what song that's from, but I recognise those words. Oh, there's more Scrawler Gallery. Oh, Scrawler Challenge Roundup. Hey, Carmel's in there. Well done, Carmel. Carmel's one of our little inspired by challenge gang. Well done, Carmel. Well done, everybody. What a lot of amazing work comes out of these boxes. Right, okay, so I'm going to have a little swatch now. I'm going to take a sheet of this paper out because I'm going to use those other substances on there. I don't want it going through and ruining the rest of the paper, so let's just put that to one side for a minute. Start with the HB and work towards the softest ones. Can't get them out. Oh, that's good style then. Okay. Yeah, the nice feeling pencils. Not at all. Sometimes pencils can feel a bit gritty and that, can't they? But no, it feels nice. Fab. And then let's just have a go with this. Okay, and I want to, let's get some of that down kind of as dark as it'll go. Because in a minute I want to try going over it with some, with the gold. See what I can do with that. I'm already getting it all over myself. Keep cleaning that rubber off in between because it's getting really mucky. Just think, you know, obviously if you're rubbing all this graphite off, you're going to have to keep cleaning the rubber in between, so that's fair enough. But that's actually coming off really nicely. It's the darkest bit of all. Pretty impressed with that actually. Let's just, for completion, let's try the sharpener because a couple of these could do with it. I'll put the graphite pieces on there and see if I can use them as well. Nice, nice sharp sharpener. Let's go up to a lovely point. This is the 6B. Yep. Got nice. Oh, look at that! And that's a real kind of pewter colour, isn't it? If you really burnished that up. I'm just trying to create a few different surfaces to try out the gold over the top of, just to see. I need to try this over the top. From what I've seen already, I'm not holding out huge hope though. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call that a highlight. Kind of blended, but then it's, to me that's just kind of dulled it down a bit. I don't really, maybe I can layer it, maybe if I keep going. It is getting lighter with each layer, I have to say. It's never going to be a white, it's not going to be a bright white. This is what I think. I don't think Zoe will, this is where I don't think Zoe will be able to tolerate this, the feeling of this, or even the sound of it. And I can kind of, yeah, kind of halfway there myself, but not quite enough to put me off using it. Well, that's the kind of whitest white I can get over. It's not bad actually. I was going over sort of piling it up a little bit. Over this, the thicker layer of graphite, it does absolutely, well, to my naked eye, nothing at all. I see on the camera it looks like it's done something. I think that's just the way it's catching the light though. It's just sort of flattening it out, the graphite, so that it, maybe you could use it for burnishing instead. It's just gliding over the top of it. It has done quite a good job of burnishing. If I wanted it to look really shiny like that, it's done a good job of that. But it's certainly not giving me a pop of white. And here we go like this, it's just carrying the darker graphite up through, which is interesting, but again, you can by no means call that a pop of white, can you? But it is an interesting effect. I think I just need to play around for a bit with these. My idea to do, I was going to do straight after this, but I think I'll be going on too long, so it might be the next video. was just to kind of do really no more than a glorified doodle, just to really get the full measure of how these supplies work and play together. I think I will do that in a subsequent video because I've already been longer than I thought I was going to be. I thought I'd be quicker sync because I already kind of knew what was in here. Yeah, and I still want to try these other these chemicals with it to see what happens. Okay, so this is the, here's the, see what I mean? It's quite a chunky nib. It's a lovely gold, dense gold, beautiful. And from what I've seen, it's very juicy, but it's a very chunky nib to be using on such a small scale, I think. So here, let's just do a piece of this as is, and actually even just scribbling it down like that, you're not getting any kind of lines in between. Sorry for the banging. I did explain about the beginning, did I? I think I did. Can't think straight for banging and hammering at the moment, and drilling. The builder came to my door yesterday quite late in the afternoon and said, oh, I don't know if you've noticed, we've been doing some work on your neighbour's house. Yes, I said, I have noticed. And no, I don't want any work done. As soon as you say we rent here, they go away. Here we go. So it is a beautiful gold, really lovely. But the finest line I can get is going to be that, and that's not going to give me kind of what I want. If you try to smudge it or anything, it dries extremely fast. That smudge is mostly the graphite off my finger. So there's no way you can blend it in that way. Let's just try it over the top of this, because they did say even burnished graphite. Doesn't seem to be leaving a mark on the nib, which is nice. Yep, that seems to work very nicely. If you go back over itself, what happens? Let's see. I mean, not necessary, but I'm just wondering if it doesn't seem to have any ill effect particularly. Let's try it over this really burnished graphite here. Yep. This. Yeah. Gives you really solid coverage over the top. And that dense black of that carbon block is a lovely foil for it, isn't it? So that's I'm quite happy with that actually. So the next thing I want to try is some of these different things with this pen, just to see if there's any way apply this with a brush or at least blend it out a bit. So let's try this Gamsol. It's called Mineral Spirits, but I don't think it's supposed to disappear that quickly. So let's just try it on some that's already on there, see if it moves it at all. Actually, it does a little bit, doesn't it? That's quite encouraging. Look at that. It'd be great if this will work, because it doesn't smell of anything. Ooh. Hold the presses. I think that's quite an exciting discovery. Okay, what I'm going to try now then, I'm just going to scribble a little bit of this down on my block, on my glass mat, and very quickly pour some of this on. Okay, that's too much Gamsol, I would say. It's still drying really fast. That's not going to move now. I've had a clean finger. That's already not going to move. It probably would move again if I reactivate it with that Gamsol. I think this gives me a lot more scope, because I think I can now, if I had a need to find a different brush to do what I want, but yeah, I think I can now get some finer lines with it. I'm going to have to work at it, but I think, yeah, I think that's gonna, I think that makes it a little bit of a game changer for me, because I haven't got to go straight on. Well, in some areas I will go straight on that beautiful dense lush gold that you get with it applied straight to the paper. It's lovely, but this means that I can kind of fade it out a bit, and also I can use it to apply a tiny thin line where I want it as well. Fantastic. Very happy about that. And one last thing I just wanted to try is some water with the carbon and graphite, just to see. I've still got the gold in it. Yeah, so that gives me a few more possibilities too, because I could mix up some of that and then use it almost like a watercolour paint. I suppose I should have tried it with the white spirit as well, just for completion, shouldn't I, really? Just so if anybody's watching this and they haven't got Gamsol, but they have got white spirit, all I needed. Okay. Oh, see, I really don't want to be using that because it does stink. But I'm still interested to see what might happen. At least it's a nice day outside, so I have got the window open. Okay. This might work as well, I think. Let's find a dry bit. Okay, here. That is drying, if anything, even quicker. And that is staying wet long enough on my board there to be able to go back into it. It's going to take a bit of faffing around to get used to it. But it feels like when you look at that, you know, there initially was this kind of area around there where the Gamsol was, but that seems to have disappeared as it's dried, doesn't it? So be interested to see now what happens with that. And then the last thing was the IPA, which also stinks, but in a whole different way. I think these little dishes were something that were left over from somebody's wedding flower arrangements or something. One of those things that I said, oh, I can find a use for those. Like I say, that also stinks, but in a whole different way. Just try a tiny bit of this now, and then I'm done. Feels like that isn't wanted to kind of mix in quite so well. Yeah, I don't think that's so successful, but it's not impossible. Okay, clean my brush off a bit. That's weird. It's like a kind of a granulating metallic watercolour. Look at that. Well, I think what I'm going to be doing is the Gamsol, simply because, oh, I didn't try the linseed oil. I don't think that is going to do anything, but I think I'm going to have to try. Okay, we've got to do this just for, at least that doesn't, I mean, it has got a distinctive smell. It always reminds me of my mum when she used to do her oil painting. Okay. It's staying quite nice and thick and golden looking. So the paint is, if the pen is already on there and then you use one of these to blend it out, that seems to work just as well, if not better, for some things. So interesting. I think it kind of needs to be then something that will work with oil paints, because this is an oil based permanent marker, I guess. Don't really know, because I don't know what I'm talking about. It's cleaning off really easy as well with that linseed oil. So yeah, so actually, so that was with the linseed oil, that was with the Gamsol, these were with the, that was the IPA, wasn't it, and that was the white spirit. So, and it still seems to have dried up nicely and quite quickly. One last thing to try. Just want to know if you can still use the graphite over the top. Oh, in fact I didn't try the graphite over the top, did I? Oh dear. See, this is my chaotic, shambolic version of swatching. Other people do lovely, organised, even beautiful swatches. So this is the graphite over the top. That seems to work really nicely over the top of these where it's been blended out. It didn't look so like it worked quite so well in other people's swatches, and I think that's because that was when it was straight into this. I'm just going to give that a minute. I know it dries almost instantly, but I just want to give it a minute so it's not soft or anything. I'll just rub graphite over the top of that now. So this is the same. This was the 8B, wasn't it? Yeah, so that really, it's not just scratching it, it's properly doing the black over the top. Yeah, still doesn't like this though. This, to me, this doesn't feel like it belongs in the box. I think I'd have rather had a white pen, if I'm honest. No, that's working fine over the top, not a problem at all. It seems to be working fine over it for me. Maybe just needs a couple of seconds to fully dry. Certainly you can shade over the top and stuff. Yeah. Okay, well I did hope that once I got in there I'd feel a bit more enthusiastic about this than I did watching it from afar, and I do. Sometimes once you just get in and start playing with things, it helps, doesn't it? How are we doing for bleed through? Not bad considering I've whacked all that oil and spirits and stuff on there. For me it's a game changer to know that I can blend it out and work with it a little bit like this. And I love that you can get that dense black with the graphite stick and then that dense gold over the top of it. I think that's fantastic. Okay, so that is me done for now. I'm going to come back with my first piece in a separate video actually, rather than do it all now, because I think it's probably quite long enough, more than long enough. I hope you enjoyed that little peek. Let me know what you think of the box. I think it's a bit controversial this time, this box. So yeah, let me know what you think, or if you're still waiting on your box. Hope you don't have to wait too long. And if anyone's got any tips or anything, do please feel free to share them. Don't forget you can join our free Discord community. I'll put my link tree in the description box so you can find your way there, or to the Arty Farty Annie group on Facebook if you prefer to do Facebook. But I'm so proud of it. I'm so happy that it's growing the way it is into such a lovely little community. So do please feel free to jump in and have a look. As I say, it's all free, and if you get there and you're not sure what to do, just shout, someone will help you out. Okay, that's enough waffle from me, more than enough. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you again really soon.